good to be with you. If you're new to the church, here's what the main thing we're about. We want to love and obey God by the power of His Spirit. Why? For the praise of His glory, and help others do the same. Really appreciate every Sunday, but during the greeting time, it seemed especially true today. There's a lot of interactions, a lot of greeting, a lot of saying hey to one another, and that's actually an important part. Like, we do a greeting time for a purpose, and that is because we acknowledge there's a relational progression in life. Strangers to acquaintance, acquaintance to friend, friend to family. And we'd love to jump from stranger to family, but it doesn't happen that way. So greeting really matters, and everybody wants to be seen. So thanks for that. That was a good time this morning, as well as the singing time. Just really good. And we're leading up to Easter. Today is Palm Sunday. You'll notice, can't really tell right now, but that is a purple fabric on the cross right now. If you come on Good Friday, and that is representing Jesus' royalty, that on Palm Sunday, he gets recognized and celebrated Jesus as King. And then on Good Friday, if you're able to join us, I hope you're able to, that will be either stripped or black, and that is just going to be remembering that he who is celebrated as King on Palm Sunday is condemned to death. The same people who said Hosanna are going to say crucify him on Friday. And then it's going to be white on Easter, and we're going to get to celebrate new life with, we're going to be in John 11 with Lazarus. We're going to be celebrating baptisms. It's going to be a great time. So really looking forward to it. Also, just want to reemphasize that the breakfast after the sunrise service brings something to share, and that would be really helpful. Few things as we're leading up to Easter. First, fasting. How's it going? You may be, we're 2 weeks into it, you may be thinking, wow, fasting really stinks. And I just want to reaffirm that if you've thought that, then you're normal. And we agreed last week that there was a prayer that we were going to follow up that feeling of, oh, this stinks. Do you remember our prayer? It was, Lord, I want you more. I want you more than food. I want you more than this thing that I'm giving up. And we shared that in our life group. And Kevin Yoakum, who's in our life group, he added to the prayer, and I really like it. So I want to add to it this week. Lord, I want you more. I love you more. I need you more. And that's a good prayer to attach if you're fasting from food. Lord, I want you more. I need you more. I love you more. It's a good prayer. So if you haven't liked fasting, if you've fasted, I'm confident that you've prayed more and with more fervor, and that's good. Also, memorizing Psalm 51, I'll know how that's going. Last week we asked, can we memorize Psalm 51, a whole chapter in 3 weeks? And the answer is maybe. Can we work at it? Yes. So we're just not going to be a church who decides to do something and then is lazy about accomplishing it. So let's do it. All right? Work at it. Work at it. Work at it. This really helped me in college. The president of CIU, where I went, he memorized large chunks of Scripture, large chunks. And he said this, two things. He said, somebody asked, how do you memorize such large chunks? And he said this, phrase by phrase, repeat, repeat. Phrase by phrase, repeat, repeat. And then he said this has really helped me. He said, the first half of the journey, you form the habit. The second half of the journey, the habit forms you. And that's important because maybe if you've been memorizing Psalm 51 and thought, man, this hasn't really brought up uncommon joy in me. It's kind of made me feel like, ugh. I really am confident that if you'll work at it and get some of that in you, then you're going to have words to say, words to pray when you need it. When you encounter what we all encounter, moral failure. And the enemy wants you to just sweep it on the rug. You've tried. And the Holy Spirit wants to testify of Jesus, and you don't know what to say. Psalm 51, have mercy on me, O God, according to my sincere prayer. No, because that's not what Psalm 51 says, right? Have mercy on me, O God, according to your unfailing love. According to your great compassion, blot out my transgressions. Yeah, so I just want to exhort us to really lean in together. This is what we're doing. All right, so we're in the book of John. John's purpose is clear. He wants us to see Jesus so that we will believe in Jesus, so that we will find life in Jesus. I'm not working here, so maybe you can flip to the next slides for me. There we go. Never mind. It's okay. It will be helpful if we have a little bit later. But so here's where we left off in John 9. This guy who's born blind is healed by Jesus. And Jesus does it on the Sabbath. Oh, controversy. And I love the man's explanation for how this happened. He goes, Jesus. Jesus is the reason, he's the explanation for the change I can't explain. Yeah, I washed, but Jesus did it. And this is what I want for me, this is what I want for us, to be able to live in such a way where really the only explanation is, Jesus. We didn't actually get to finish John 9, and John 10 really is a continuation of it. And so let's pick up in John 9 in verse 38. The man who was healed credits Jesus for it. It gets him kicked out of the synagogue. And verse 38, Jesus appears to him. In verse 38, the man who was born blind said, "Lord, I believe," and he worshiped him. Yep, that's a response to seeing Jesus. Verse 39, and Jesus said, "For judgment I came to this world, so that those who do not see may see, and those who see may become blind." Okay, pause there. He's going, I came into this world so that those who understand their neediness, their blindness, would see. Because it is needy people who go, "Lord, help me. Lord, help me." And that those who see may become blind. Verse 40, those of the Pharisees who were with him heard these things and said to him, "We're not blind too, are we?" Jesus said to them, "If you were blind, you would have no sin. But since you say we see, your sin remains." So was he talking about them? Yes, he was. Shoot. This is where we pick up in John 10, where we've got some religious people who have they've been bad shepherds. And you have this guy who's been kicked out of the synagogue because he's following Jesus. And now Jesus, with this guy in mind and these guys in mind, there's religious leaders, these shepherds, is going to talk to them about what good shepherds actually do. This is John 10. Verse 1. We're going to be introduced to three characters in John 10. Verse 1, "Truly, truly, I say to you," okay, this is a continuation of what we just read. "Truly, truly, I say to you, he who does not enter by the door into the fold of the sheep, but climbs up some other way, he is a thief and a robber. But he who enters by the door is a shepherd of the sheep. To him the doorkeeper opens, and the sheep hear his voice." All right, so we've got our three characters. We're still working? Probably not going to happen? Okay, probably not going to happen. That's okay. It was just a picture of our three characters. Here are our three characters. We've got, who's the first character that we learned about? Jeez, that boy Bob, Jesus. We got a shepherd, okay? And then we've also got, that's the sheep are the third, and robbers. Okay, we got a shepherd, robbers, and sheep. Okay, those were the first 2.5-ish verses. Shepherd, robbers, and sheep. Let's get a little portrait of each of these characters, because Jesus has some things to say about. Please don't do that. If you didn't look up, it was me up there, and we don't. It really is fine, though. We're going to get a portrait of each of these characters, the shepherd, the sheep, and the robbers. And I think John 10, as all scripture is, but is a gift to us. Let's ask God to help us see Jesus in it. Join me in prayer. Father, if you're the shepherd, we need you to guide us. If we're the sheep, we need to hear you. So, whatever other distractions, we just want the shepherd to guide. So speak, Lord. Your servants are listening. Your sheep are listening. In your name I pray. Amen. All right. So we've got three characters. We got the shepherd, we got the sheep, and we got the robbers, the thief. Verse 11, Jesus is going to be really clear. Who is the shepherd? Jesus. All right. There we go. Yes. So just so there's no confusion, Jesus wants you to know he's the shepherd. So let's build a profile of what Jesus does as the good shepherd. Pick up with me in verse 2. But he who enters by the door is a shepherd of the sheep. To him, the doorkeeper opens, and the sheep hear his voice. And look, we're building our portrait of the shepherd. He calls his own sheep by name, and he leads them out. When he puts forth all his own, he goes ahead of them, and the sheep follow him because they know his voice. All right, what did we learn about the shepherd? What's he do? He knows the sheep. He calls them by name. He calls them by name. So much of Christianity can become so familiar to us that we lose the punch that it is. So just imagine, who would you love it if they walked through those doors and everybody was like, whoa, this person's here. And they were like, boom, and they name dropped you and went straight to you. Who would that be for you? You don't have to answer out loud, but just think. Who if they walked in and name dropped you, you'd be like, oh. Like a little bit of that. I don't know why this came to my mind when I was answering, but I was like, Tim Tebow. If Tim Tebow walked in and was like, where's Will? Where's Will? I'd be like, oh. All right. I am a Florida Gator fan. So, woo. But you, truly, what is better than being able to have Tim Tebow know you? Jesus, to be able to know you and call you by name. He knows you. He knows you. Everything about you, he knows the things that you don't know about you. He knows you. The good shepherd calls his sheep by, there we go. The thief, the shepherd, and us, the sheep. What else? He calls their name. What else does he do? We build our profile. We just read it. What else does he do? He leads them. How does he lead them? He cracks the whip from behind. He's got the sheepdog. No, what does he do? He goes ahead of them. He leads them. He goes ahead of them. Don't want to put that up yet. He leads them and he goes ahead of them. Trying to build a profile of the shepherd. And these, as simple as they are, have ministered to me. What does the good shepherd do? He calls their name. He leads them out, and he goes ahead. He leads them out. He goes ahead. He leads. How many times in your life have you asked the Lord for direction? Should I take this job or this job? Should I move here or move here? What does it say the good shepherd does? He leads. And I don't think that means our good shepherd is not playing hide and seek. He's not playing Marco Polo, if you ever played that in the pool as a kid. Marco Polo. He's not playing hide and seek. He leads. What does Psalm 23 say? Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. What does the rod and the staff do? Hey, sheep, this way. Sheep, this way. If I have a good shepherd, this has relieved some pressure from me as his sheep to try to figure everything out and make sure that everything is perfectly calculated. I want to listen, but I also want to say, you're a good shepherd. And your rod and your staff, they comfort me. That means I actually have more confidence in the language that we often use of God closing and opening doors. Maybe that's actually kind of what God does with his rod and his staff. Shut that door, open this door. He's a good shepherd. So I do want to listen and follow, but he's a good shepherd. So he calls their name, he leads them out, and he goes ahead. This has been really good for me too. Just trying to build a profile of this shepherd. He goes ahead. That means he never asks the sheep to go somewhere he hasn't gone. That means he never says to the sheep, hey, you step here without him having gone there first. He knows us, and he knows what it is to walk the path that he's called us to. He knows sacrificial love. Like the kind of love that only goes one way, the kind of love that is going to wash the disciples' feet, the very ones who are about to abandon him, betray him, and deny him. He knows that. He knows what it is to be humble. He knows what it is to be rejected and to continue in obedience to God. This is our good shepherd. He calls by name. He leads them out. He goes ahead. And there's something else that the shepherd does. Let's skip down to verse 11. Jesus is going to say one thing 4 times. What else the good shepherd does. Verse 11, I am the good shepherd. The good shepherd lays down his life for the sheep. He who is a hired hand and not a shepherd, who is not the owner of the sheep, sees the wolf coming and leaves the sheep and leaves, and the wolf snatches them and scatters them. He flees because he's a hired hand, and he's not concerned about the sheep. I am the good shepherd, and I know my own, and my own know me, even as the Father knows me, and I know the Father, and I lay down my life for the sheep. I have other sheep which are not of this fold. I must bring them also, and they will hear my voice, and they will become one flock with one shepherd. For this reason the Father loves me, because I lay down my life so that I may take it up again. Ooh, Good Friday and Easter, right there. Verse 18, no one has taken it away from me, but I lay it down on my own initiative. I have authority to lay it down, and I have authority to take it up. Good Friday and Easter. This commandment I received from my Father. So the good shepherd, what's he do? Well, he calls their name, he leads them out, he goes ahead, and what else does he do? He lays down his life for the sheep. This is what we're going to celebrate on Good Friday. I hope you'll join on Friday. It's going to be a service, or it's going to be somber remembrance. It's actually going to be focused around Psalm 51. Hopefully we'll be mostly memorized by then. But he lays down his life for sheep. Now we're going to build a profile of sheep in a few minutes, but just on its face, that's not like, there's not much you can say about, oh, I'm a sheep? Like, okay, all right. No, I'm a sheep. He lays down his life for the sheep. We've said it this morning, but I want to say it again, that Jesus laid down his life for you to take something from you. What? Your sin and the punishment, the wrath of God you deserve for it. He laid down his life to take that. Nobody took it from him. He did it on his own initiative. That's what he said. And he's going to raise back up again. That's next week. He lays down his life for the religious, for the Jews, And for the non-religious, did you see? Look at verse 16 with me. I have other sheep which are not of this fold. I must bring them also, and they will hear my voice, and they will become one flock. Pause. If you just really want to believe in aliens, this is your verse. However, it's actually not your verse, because Jesus is not talking about aliens like some other worldly. No, he's talking about Jews and Gentiles being made one. People who are religious, unreligious, made one because they have a common righteousness in Christ, who took their sin on himself, bore their iniquity. That's going to be the Easter sunrise service. Really excited about that. He bore our sin. And now we, Jews, Gentiles, religious, unreligious, people who don't deserve it, returned now, as 1 Peter 2 says, to the shepherd and guardian of their souls. He laid down his life. This is what the shepherd does. Why would he do that? You could give a lot of true answers. You could give some wrong answers too. Like a wrong answer would be, because you're pretty great. And of course he would. No, that would not be a correct answer. Here's the answer he gives in this passage. Look at verse 12. He answers the why by creating a contrast between a good shepherd and a hired hand. Verse 12, he who is a hired hand and not a shepherd, who is not the owner of the sheep. The hired hand sees the wolf coming and leaves the sheep and flees. The wolf snatches them and scatters them. He flees because he is a hired hand and is not concerned about the sheep. Or your translation may say, instead of not concerned, it may say, he does not care. Does anybody's translation say, because the hired hand doesn't care for the sheep? The why that Jesus gives for why he would lay down his life, he answers it with this contrast. Here's the answer: because he cares for you. Because he cares. That is astounding. If he also knows us, which we already established he does. To be fully known and fully loved. Tim Keller, this isn't his exact quote, but he talks about being loved but not known is superficial. To be known but not loved is rejection, and that's our greatest fear. But to be fully known and fully loved is a lot like being loved by God. He cares for you. We're just building a profile of the shepherd. He cares. He cares for you. This is why he did what he did. He calls their name. He leads them out. He goes ahead. He lays down his life. Why? Because he cares. And in all this, he has a particular aim. All right? He has, like, if we can catch this, he has a goal in mind for this calling by name and leading out and going ahead and laying down his life. And it's in verses 7 to 10, and I hope we can see this. Join me in verse 7. What's his aim in all this? What's the good shepherd leading us towards? Verse 7, so Jesus said to them again, truly, truly, I say to you, I am the door of the sheep. All who came before me are thieves and robbers, but the sheep did not hear them. I am the door. Okay, pause there. Why is Jesus mixing all these metaphors? First he's the shepherd, now he's the door. Well, it's because we just don't understand what shepherding was like back in the day. And here's a real brief little thing on it. All right, the shepherds would have a common fold, a common enclosure. It'd have a wall around it, and that's where they'd bring their sheep in at night. And in the morning, the shepherds would call their sheep, hey, sheep. And their sheep, knowing the voice of their shepherd, would follow their shepherd out. Okay, so that kind of helps you see, okay, I see why he's saying what he's saying. But this enclosure, do you know what it didn't have? A door. Do you know why? Because the shepherd at night would find a nice spot to sleep right at the door. He was the door. Anything that was going to get to the sheep was going to have to get through him. Kind of over my dead body, you're going to get my sheep type thing. So when Jesus says, I am the door and I'm the good shepherd, he's saying the same thing, but with a unique emphasis. And what is that emphasis? And where is he? What's the goal in all this for the good shepherd? Verse 9, I am the door. If anyone enters through me, he will be saved and will go in and out and find pasture. What is he talking about? Next verse, very familiar verse to a lot of us. The thief comes only to steal and kill and destroy. I came that they may have life and have it abundantly. So yeah, we're trying to build this profile of the good shepherd. What does he do? He calls them by name. He goes ahead, or he leads them out. He goes ahead. He lays down his life because he cares for them. And what is his goal in it? There's two things, those two. He's the door, so anybody who comes in through him would be saved. He is the only way. It's not Jesus plus, I'm pretty good. He is the only way of salvation. He is the door, the only way in. And not only is he the only way of salvation, he is the good shepherd that leads us to what he says in verse 10, I came that they may have life and have it abundantly. Have it to the max. Have it to the full. I've spent a lot of time trying to figure out and just try to wrap my head around. When Jesus said that, what did he have in mind? This abundant life. What was he offering? And I think there's good answers you can give from the rest of the New Testament. But John 10, what is he saying in John 10? The abundant life, I think, is this. A sheep in the presence of the shepherd. That's the abundant life. Now, if that doesn't sound like super helpful or profound, let me flesh it out just a little bit, see if this helps. I have my favorite movies are like the stereotypical man movies. All right, like name a stereotypical man movie. I'm like, I love that movie. Okay, that's just me. Braveheart, Gladiator, Patriot. Lord of the Rings. I love these movies. And as I was thinking about it, there's a commonality among them that has actually helped me see part of what I love about them. And it is a leader worth following even to death. I think that's part of what I love about my movies. It's a leader worth following even to the point of death. So if you know these movies, then you would know, and I don't need to try to explain them, but both these movies, Braveheart, Lord of the Rings, they have these moments where like there is no hope. The battle is truly hopeless. And then somebody shows up. I am William Wallace, okay? Braveheart shows up, or Aragorn shows up. And in the movies, I hope this helps because it really helped me. There is greater hope in the battle, but really the outcome of the battle for them is still unknown. There's just one thing that they do know. William Wallace is here. The outcome of the battle still unknown, but what we do know is Aragorn is here. And this has helped me because maybe it's just me because these movies resonate with me, but to go, I don't know what's going to happen, but here's what I do know. The good shepherd is here. He's with me. And whatever the abundant life is, it is life with him. And I don't know what's going to happen with my future, but I do know, good shepherd. He's leading me out. He's going ahead. He cares for me. He laid down his life. I don't know what's going to happen, but here's what I do know. Good shepherd, right here. And there is joy in that. In your presence, there is fullness of joy. if you're doing McShane plan, Bible reading plan, we read that this week. In your presence, there is fullness of joy. So this is at least a slice of the abundant life. It is a salvation protected by the door, who happens to be Jesus. It is an abundant life with him, with me, ahead of me, my good shepherd. That's good. That's abundant life. Psalm 23, Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures. Oh, that's nice. He leads me beside still waters. Oh, that's nice. He guides me in paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Oh, it's almost like love and obey God by the power of his Spirit for the praise of his glory. But he guides me in paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, what? Now things just didn't get so good. I will fear no evil. Why? You're with me. You're with me. This is the abundant life. The good shepherd with me, ahead of me, before me, an example, and with me. Better than Braveheart and better than Aragorn. This is the profile of the shepherd. We're going to briefly get a profile of the sheep and the thief now. Go with me back to verse 3. To him, that's to the shepherd, the doorkeeper opens, and the sheep hear his voice. And he calls his own sheep by name and leads them out. When he puts forth all his own, he goes ahead of them, and the sheep follow him because, why? They know his voice. A stranger they simply will not follow, but will flee from him because they do not know the voice of strangers. Very simple profile for the sheep. What do? They hear the voice of the shepherd and then do what? Follow the voice of the shepherd. We have a way to visualize that here, right? This is visualizing that. To hear the voice of the shepherd and place myself under it and say, Lord, whatever you say, I follow you. You're my shepherd. What? For some reason, there is a thought, and we can make guesses as to why, but there's this thought that I can be a sheep of the good shepherd in the flock and have total disregard for his voice and following him. And that doesn't make any sense. The abundant life, the salvation and the abundant life that the shepherd offers has everything to do with the quality of the shepherd, what we just talked about, and the degree to which you hear and follow the shepherd's voice. Yes, Lord, I'll do what you say. Before you even tell me what it is, I'll do it. I hope that that's how we'll come into the services here. Whatever you say, Lord, my answer is already yes. But that's the sheep hear and follow, but that's not the only thing that he said about the shepherd, because the degree to which I follow the shepherd's voice is proportional to how much I look at verse 4. When he puts forth all his own, he goes ahead of them, and the sheep follow him because they know his voice. They hear the shepherd, and they follow the shepherd because they know. And the knowing in Scripture, that word know, it goes beyond familiarity. It's a word of intimacy. It's a word of total trust. And it sounds like this. The sheep goes, wait, you want to go there in the valley of the shadow of death? I trust you. That's why I follow, because I trust you. I play this weird little game with my girls sometimes when, I don't know why, maybe I'm just trying to brainwash them, but I'll have them repeat after me, and they'll be like, Dad, and they say, Dad, and I was like, you're so awesome, right? You're so awesome. Your muscles are so big, your muscle, and and for some reason recently, I don't remember why, but I said, Dad, and they say, Dad, and I said, I trust you, and they said, I trust you. And this was maybe 2 weeks ago. We're just driving, and I was like, I know there was no sort of sincerity in their hearts. They were just kind of playing the game. But when I heard that as their dad, I was like, oh, that's sweet. That was really sweet. And I thought about God. What it must feel like when the sheep go. I don't really like it. It doesn't feel good. But that's what you said, and I trust you. I trust you. I don't have to get it all right and just trying to figure things out because you're the good shepherd. And abundant life is with you. You ahead of me, but you with me. So whatever you say, Lord, I trust you. So would you say, I think I'm experiencing life abundant right now? Most of us would probably be like, nah. Here's what John in John 10 wants to do. He wants to point us to the good shepherd, to the quality of the good shepherd who knows you, who leads you out, who goes ahead, who lays down his life because he cares for you. And he wants to say, maybe there's a lacking in abundant life because there's a lacking of hearing and following and trusting the shepherd. You trust the shepherd. Let's briefly, very quickly, look at the third profile. There's only one verse that we're going to look at, and it's verse 10. The thief comes only to steal and kill and destroy. And in John 10, I don't really see any direct tactics that Jesus brings out in John 10, but we did hear in John 8 the tactics of the enemy. He said, you are sons of Satan, and Satan was from the beginning. What was the word? Liar. Lies. The thief doesn't want people to come to salvation and doesn't want abundant life. And his tactic is going to be a compelling voice that contradicts the shepherd's voice. That whatever this says, the thief is going to say, nuh-uh. God's actually just holding out on you. And in all of life, part of what I want to do is to be able to evaluate not just what I'm doing, but what lies am I believing that are behind that, because that is the enemy's tactic. So in conclusion, I want to give two invitations. One is an invitation to enter the gate. Jesus is the door. There is no way of salvation outside of Jesus. Lay aside your resume and enter through him. It is a work of God that would do that in you, and it is such great joy to hear when that happens. I got to hear a story of a 6-year-old last week who in a chapel at his school heard the gospel again, and he responded. And he said, Mr. Will, I believed in Jesus. And I was like, yes. You know why? For a lot of reasons. But one, because it's just like, what's the explanation for that? Here's the explanation. The chapel speaker was really good. No. Here's the explanation. The good shepherd said, you, come on. And he came. Entered through the gate. He is the way of salvation. And the other invitation is to return to the shepherd And here's what that would look like. If you stopped, or maybe there's a particular way which you've kind of said, Shepherd, I know you, that's what you've called me to do, but no thanks. To return and say, I trust you. I trust you. Go through all of this week with this mentality. You're with me, and I trust you. You're with me, and I trust you. We are, my family, we're a little bit behind in the sharing joy across the street, but we're going out this afternoon. We're going to knock on our neighbors' doors with some cookies, invite them to Easter. And here's, as I knock on the door and kind of have this sense of like, here's what's going to be on my mind. You're with me, and I trust you. And if they show up here next week, which I hope they will, hope we have a Cherry Johnson section, and I'm thinking, I better be really good, Nat. You're with me, and I trust you. You're with me, and I trust you. Your job you don't like, I hope you'll go and go, you're with me, and I trust you. In unemployment, you're with me, and I trust you. In unanswered prayers, you're with me, and I trust you. Constant sickness. It's like as soon as your family gets healthy, bam, sick again. I don't like this, but you're with me, and I trust you. In the daily grind, Lord, you're with me, and I trust you. And there is great joy in being able to follow that good shepherd who calls us by name, who leads us out, who goes ahead, who lays down his life because he cares for us, for salvation and abundant life. So let's, with that in mind, let's sing together and rejoice in the good shepherd, the King of love, together. Let's stand and let's sing together. Let's do it.